You really ought to know about how a grieving mother turned tragedy into a massive business success. When rap legend the Notorious B.I.G. was murdered in 1997, he left behind a young family and an estate worth about $10 million. Be sure to stick around to the end to find out how his mother, Voletta Wallace, transformed that modest fortune into an empire valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. And to hear why her story might inspire you to rethink your own legacy planning. Let's set the scene. Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie Smalls, exploded onto the hip-hop scene with his debut album Ready to Die in 1994 and followed it with the double album Life After Death in 1997. Those records produced hits like Juicy, Big Papa, and Hypnotize, catapulting him into rap royalty. But on March 9, 1997, at just 24 years old, Biggie was gunned down in Los Angeles after leaving a Soul Train Awards after-party. His murder remains unsolved. Biggie's sudden death not only devastated fans around the world, but also left his estate in a precarious position. He hadn't been in the industry for long, and like many artists of his generation, he didn't have full control of his master recordings or publishing. His estate was estimated at around $10 million, and he owned only 50% of his publishing rights. Enter Voletta Wallace, a former preschool teacher from Brooklyn whose life had already been defined by perseverance and hard work. Voletta was born in Jamaica and immigrated to New York when Biggie was just a toddler. She raised him as a single mother, working multiple jobs to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. She might not have been immersed in the music industry, but she had a deep love for her son, a sharp mind for business, and an unwavering sense of duty to protect his legacy. In the wake of his murder, she grieved privately while stepping publicly into the role of estate executor. She suddenly found herself navigating record contracts, royalty agreements, merchandise deals, and a volatile music industry that can chew up and spit out even the most seasoned executives. Talk about being thrown into the deep end of a swimming pool that's filled with sharks wearing gold chains. One of her first strategic moves was partnering with Wayne Barrow and Mark Pitts, two music industry insiders who had worked closely with Biggie during his lifetime. Together, they formed a management team that understood both the cultural importance of Biggie's work and the business intricacies of the industry. They renegotiated deals, leaned into licensing opportunities, and focused on long-term brand building rather than quick cash grabs. For example, they convinced Sean "Diddy" Combs, Biggie's label boss at Bad Boy Records, to increase the estate's share of publishing from 50% to 85%. Then in 2020, after a protracted effort, Voletta managed to secure 100% ownership of her son's publishing. Imagine going toe-to-toe with one of hip-hop's biggest moguls, and not only walking away with your dignity, but with control of your son's catalog. That's like showing up to a game of Monopoly and leaving with the deeds to Boardwalk and Park Place. Under Voletta's stewardship, the estate pursued licensing and merchandising deals that kept Biggie's image fresh for new generations. Merchandise bearing his likeness, from t-shirts to sneakers, flew off shelves. A 2009 biopic titled Notorious brought his story to the big screen and introduced his life to millions who were too young to remember the original East Coast-West Coast rivalry. Documentaries, tribute concerts, and anniversary releases kept his music streaming long after CDs went the way of the dial-up modem. While some fans raised eyebrows at the idea of a rapper who once boasted about selling jewels being sold as digital art, the moves kept his brand relevant in a rapidly changing market. A wise person once said, "It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine." The dream today includes blockchain. By leveraging Biggie's posthumous releases and strategic collaborations, the estate's revenue streams diversified. Voletta insisted on carefully vetted partnerships. She famously resisted offers for a line of Biggie-branded malt liquor, reasoning that endorsing alcohol would conflict with the more positive image she wanted for her son's legacy. Instead, she greenlit projects that aligned with her values, like educational programs and scholarships for young people interested in music. She turned down reality TV shows that felt exploitative. She also maintained a close relationship with Biggie's children, Tiana and CJ Wallace, ensuring that their voices were included in decisions and that they were financially secure. In a way, Voletta's estate management created opportunities that extended beyond numbers on a balance sheet. Here's an interesting list of 5 factors that contributed to the estate's growth. And you won't believe number 4, control of publishing. Voletta's insistence on owning the rights to Biggie's music meant that revenues from streaming, sampling, and film placements went directly to the estate. Strategic licensing. The team licensed Biggie's image for high-quality merchandise and limited edition collaborations with major fashion brands and sneaker companies. Film and documentary projects. By producing the biopic Notorious and supporting documentaries like Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell, the estate ensured that each new generation encountered his music alongside a compelling narrative. Diversification into new media. The estate embraced everything from video games to NFTs, tapping into audiences far beyond those who remember pressing play on a cassette. The Biggie avatar even appeared in a metaverse concert. Yes, Biggie performed from beyond the grave in virtual reality. Long-term vision. Rather than cashing in on quick deals that might tarnish Biggie's brand, the estate played a long game. That meant passing on some offers, choosing partners carefully, and always thinking about how decisions would impact his legacy decades down the line. While those factors drove steady growth, the watershed moment came in 2025. Primary Wave Music Publishing, a company known for acquiring stakes in legendary catalogs like those of Bob Marley and Whitney Houston, struck a deal with the Notorious B.I.G. estate. Reports revealed that Primary Wave acquired a 50% interest in Biggie's recordings, publishing catalog, and name, image, and likeness rights. The Wall Street Journal noted that this deal valued the estate at over $200 million and was approved by Voletta shortly before her death. To put that in perspective, that's 20 times the value of the estate when Biggie died and nearly double the reported $160 million valuation the estate had reached under her management. It's as if Voletta had taken a small investment portfolio and turned it into a Fortune 500 company, then sold half of it at peak market value. The numbers are staggering, but the journey is just as important. When Biggie died, he left his mom an estate estimated at $10 million and only partial control of his catalog. By the early 2020s, multiple sources estimated the estate's value at around $160 million, thanks to Voletta's savvy leadership. For nearly 3 decades, she navigated a maze of contracts, cleared rights to unreleased tracks, and oversaw a continuous stream of tributes, reissues, and commemorations. According to friends and business partners, she was meticulous and mistrustful, often triple-checking paperwork herself, and refusing to let anyone sell her son's legacy short. She secured full ownership of his publishing in 2020, a move that exponentially increased the estate's revenue from streaming services. By selling half of the estate to Primary Wave at a time when music catalogs were fetching record-breaking prices, she ensured that Biggie's songs would continue to reach new ears without exploiting his image. There's also a human side to this story. Voletta was not an industry robot. She was a mother mourning her only son. She attended memorial services, visited his gravesite, and kept personal items like his journals and school photos. In interviews, she talked about cooking his favorite Jamaican dishes and listening to his music when she missed him. Yet she threw herself into the business side because she felt it was her duty. If she didn't protect his rights, who would? In that sense, her management of the estate was a form of activism, a way to fight for fairness in an industry that has historically exploited Black artists. You might say she turned grief into grit. Of course, no narrative is complete without a bit of levity. There are rumors that when lawyers first handed Voletta contracts, she told them, "Listen, I taught preschool for decades. I know a thing or two about dealing with unruly toddlers, and they're easier than record executives." Okay, that might not be an exact quote, but the imagery is too perfect to ignore. There's also the story of Biggie's posthumous induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020. During the ceremony, a hologram of the late rapper appeared alongside his children and collaborators. At one point, Diddy declared that Biggie's lyrics were Bible verses for hustlers. Somewhere up there, Biggie must have chuckled at being compared to the good book. So what can we learn from Voletta Wallace's stewardship of her son's estate? For starters, rights matter. Owning or controlling intellectual property can make or break an artist's financial legacy. Second, patience and prudence pay off. Voletta could have accepted early offers that might have depleted the estate's value, but she focused on long-term sustainability. Third, values and vision should guide business decisions. She rejected deals that didn't align with her moral compass, proving that money isn't everything. Fourth, collaboration can amplify impact. By bringing in trusted partners and ultimately partnering with Primary Wave, she ensured the estate would thrive long after her passing. And fifth, resilience is a superpower. Voletta turned unimaginable loss into lasting legacy. She didn't just manage a catalog, she built a brand and cultivated generational wealth for her grandchildren. Now, I'd love to hear from you. If you were in Voletta Wallace's shoes, what would you have done differently? Do you think artists today are more aware of how to protect their rights, or are we still seeing history repeat itself? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Maybe you have your own story of turning a small inheritance into a sizable fortune, or maybe you just want to share your favorite Biggie track. Before we wrap up, here's a final joke to leave you smiling. Did you hear about the estate executor who tried to trademark the phrase "mo money, no problems"? Turns out, Voletta had already done it. So even in the afterlife, Biggie's business game is still ahead of the competition. In conclusion, the story of Voletta Wallace and the Notorious B.I.G. estate is a masterclass in business, resilience, and love. From a $10 million estate in 1997 to a valuation over $200 million today, the transformation didn't happen overnight or by accident. It was the result of careful planning, strategic partnerships, and an unwavering commitment to honoring a son's legacy. Whether you're an artist, a parent, or someone who's just trying to figure out their finances, there's a lesson here. Know your worth, protect your rights, and don't be afraid to play the long game. Thanks so much for watching. Your support means the world. If you could drop a like and subscribe, that would really help the channel. Have a marvelous day,